How can manufacturing firms benefit from using Insightly CRM? That's the topic for today's episode of Closing Time. Thanks so much for tuning into this Customer Spotlight edition of Closing Time. I'm Melinda Prescher, Insightly's Director of Product and Customer Marketing, and today I have the pleasure of welcoming two guests, Megan Thomas and Rich Blunden of Moduflex. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Hi, thank you for having us.
Hi, Melinda. Great to be here.
So, Rich, I'd love it if you would take a moment first to tell the audience more about Moduflex.
Sure, no problem. Moduflex are a manufacturing company based in the UK. We're a specialist in the storage aspect of production. We manufacture specialist storage products. We've got two factories based in the southwest of the UK, and we try and manufacture all the products that we sell.
So, Megan, your expertise is actually really unique. You're a marketing manager with really deep expertise in CRM integration and user administration. I'd love for you to compare the process of implementing Insightly to other CRMs, including Salesforce and HubSpot, if you can speak to that.
Sure. So I've used a ton of different CRM systems over the years. The very first system I ever experienced was Salesforce. I used that for years as an end user and then moved on to an administrator role, and always found it was very complex, very suited for big, vast enterprises with a lot of brand specific terminology that you had to have quite extensive training to really get familiar with. And it's sort of well known in the industry as well that for Salesforce integrations, you need a full dedicated team, IT, probably with an IT degree. Same for HubSpot. HubSpot always felt, in my experience, it's very marketing heavy. Again, not really appropriate for our business. We needed something that we could easily incorporate into our sort of industry specific processes involving logistics and production. From the beginning, Insightly was just so user friendly. No need to overcomplicate anything. Nice and easy to navigate, and could just fly with it straight away.
Megan, that's really great to hear you speak to how easy it is to use Insightly. I love it. Rich, please tell us what you like about using Insightly dashboards and reporting to get a quick view of your business performance.
Yeah, it's a really interesting question. When we tasked Megan with finding a CRM for us, we had a very certain criteria that we wanted to look to. We used to be very spreadsheet heavy, and we wanted to automate a lot of those processes. To get all of that information flowing through the business in a timely manner, that gave me as the managing director real insight into where we were at any one point. I think the Insightly system has proved to us that that information to hand in a timely manner is really key to running a business. We had a lot of spreadsheet going to spreadsheet, and a lot of data entry and a lot of copying and pasting and re-entry and more entry. So actually being able to streamline that whole process has saved us huge amounts of manpower. Really difficult for us to put an exact number of hours, but I think we're saving 30 to 40% on our manpower.
Rich, that is so great to hear. 30 to 40% savings on manpower and time is really impressive. So Megan, back to you. We know that speed of implementation is really important, but so is the actual onboarding process. How was your onboarding experience with the Insightly team?
So from working with their onboarding team, they were incredibly professional at all times, very helpful. And personally, I like to ask a lot of questions and kind of cover the same topics. But I never felt like it was too much for them or I was asking too much. It's very open communication. It's always really daunting taking on a project of this kind of scope. This is the biggest one I've done, because we're a medium-sized enterprise, bigger manpower, so a lot more departments to kind of try and tie together. But they really took that kind of intimidation away, I guess, because they really simplified the onboarding process. You guys structured it all for me, laid out all the steps, and then, made sure I was comfortable with configuring everything myself, running all the administration and supporting me through that. And, just seeing the level of customization that Insightly has was just so brilliant for onboarding our team onto Insightly, because all the language on there was a home from home for them. They didn't have to suddenly learn a whole new, language to use a CRM. Pretty much every single member of staff here, apart from me, had never used a CRM system before. So it was really important that it was really straightforward and familiar to them. And that was one of the key things that made the onboarding process really, really great.
Rich, when you think about the biggest benefits that Insightly brings to your business, what would you say are most important to you and your team?
Great question. We've had a good few months of using Insightly now, and the benefits are really starting to shine through. Just before this meeting, myself and Megan went into a meeting with our contracts team, and they had an issue with the way that one of their workflows was not allowing them to see certain data. Now, with the training provided, Megan was able to update that report, add in fields that they previously hadn't thought about, suggest things the way that we could improve that process flow for them. The thorough training allowed us to do that all in-house, which was just amazing. The other benefits, it gives us a lot more visibility of where our projects are. We can get things through to manufacturing quicker. We also have a site installation service that goes along with our manufacturing. One of the things that we've been able to do is schedule installation engineers from the back of the Insightly entry of the order. And that allows us to keep all of the documentation continuous through the project. It allows us to know who is where at any one time, as it all brings it into one central resource. I can go into that management tool and look at what installation engineers we have on site at any one day, what jobs are going out for what customers in the next day, the next 2 days, the next week, what the value of those projects are, how much load we put into our manufacturing. All of that in instant insight is now at my fingertips, which as a business owner is crucial.
Rich, that sounds really great. I'm so happy to hear it. Megan, from your perspective as a user, what would you say are the biggest benefits of Insightly?
So for me, being a marketing manager, it's been really great to just have a visibility on the entire workflow of a job from the minute it comes through the sales pipeline to the minute that job is completed. I, as a marketing manager, have a visibility on that to, for example, if I wanted to track a job to do a case study, or if I wanted to track what stuff's coming in from new business or from existing customers. Again, order value, all of that stuff is just accessible straight away. You've got access to all that live data. It's part of my job to build the reports and the dashboards that the business use. And it's fantastic. Just before, we didn't have any kind of system for that other than sort of pulling from a spreadsheet, which took our sales and accounting teams probably a day of work a month to put together. And now we can come into these sales meetings, click a button and have this really in-depth dashboard with all the key metrics that we need to see as a business. And our target this year is to grow as a business. So it's been such a massive help with that.
That's great. Megan, what else has your team seen in terms of time savings and efficiency?
So there's definitely been some really significant savings across a few different departments. So our accounting team as well has seen a huge benefit. And again, all manual Excel spreadsheets, but I've been able to create them several reports that quickly tells them what needs invoicing, and again, it's just so much easier for them to keep track of jobs, and it's saving them about a day a month as well in pulling all that data together. There's also a weekly intake. So when I started, a member of our order processing team would again pull all the data manually and do a weekly summary of what orders had come in that week, break it down by product. And so with Insightly now, all that data is set up in some reports, and now all I have to do is pop the link into an email every Friday and send it out to everyone in the business, and it's there ready to go.
Rich, I know that you're also using AppConnect to help your teams with time savings on integrations and connecting Insightly to the other apps that you use to run your business. Tell the audience a little bit about what you're doing there.
Sure. The very start of our process, we're getting our customers to fill in contact forms The benefit to us is it brings the information direct from the customer into Insightly without our sales team having to do anything. So that has been a huge saving of inputting of data. What we're doing is effectively pushing that data input into our customers' hands. Also, we're making sure that the integrity of that data is correct because the customer is putting their own data in. Also, back end of the business, when we're booking engineer appointments, AppConnect is then pushing that out to people's online diaries, and those appointments are going in straight away. Those two things alone have saved us a huge amount of data entry and improved our accuracy in data entry as well.
This has all been great. Is there anything else that you'd like to add about how Insightly has helped you run your business more effectively and deliver better customer experiences?
Yeah, I think there's a few things that have been unforeseen benefits. The integration of automation into the business has allowed us to bring all of our customer data together. It's allowed us to fulfill quotes more efficiently, more effectively, get the marketing to individual customer segmentation areas correct. Our response times are down, so we're getting back to customers quicker. Benefit has gone all the way across the business, really.
Megan, is there anything that you'd add to that from your perspective?
No, I mean, yeah, no, that's exactly it. It's ultimately improving and will continue to improve the customer experience, the automation in particular. We've started to implement things like contact forms that if the customer fills it out, it will go straight into our system, whereas before it was all sort of manually tracked through email. So it's really going to just streamline that quotation process, and we'll be able to deliver a quicker lead time to our customers, which is great.
All right, Megan and Rich, that's all the time that we have for this episode. Thanks so much for these insights and for joining the show. Rich, if our audience wants to learn more about Moduflex, how can they reach you?
Sure, they can go to our website, www.moduflex.co.uk, fill in one of the forms, and it'll go straight into our Insightly CRM. Such a great conversation. Thank you so much for having us on.
Thank you very much.
And thanks to all of you for tuning in. Remember to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications so you don't miss an episode. We'll see you next time on Closing Time.